So just in review, yesterday we had John Byrne from Reclaim New York. Each one of those could work. Anyway, and revealed that the night before he was at the American Legion in, I believe, North Utica, and Jack LoMedico said, I didn't want to vote for it, talking about the term limits. I didn't agree with it, but I had no choice. My son is an employee of the mayor's. What's your take? Now, this is in direct contrast to what he told us, and certainly in direct contrast to what the mayor has alluded, that he really didn't do anything to twist any arms here. Are we shedding a light on Jack LoMedico? Are we shedding a light on the mayor, or is this both? What do you think?
Well, let me start with this. I supported the term limits of 8 years when it was proposed and then voted in by the people by a significant margin.
Yeah, better than 2-1.
And I don't, but I don't think that there was anything wrong with wanting to bring it back to the voters to see if they had changed their mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So even though I think that it still would probably get voted down to, to change it to something else, would be voted by the voters, down by the voters.
At least the voters put it in place. The voters would then remove.
So I believe that
alter.
if you were going to have the voters speak on that issue, and that's what you felt strongly that you wanted to extend the terms. I don't see any reason for them not to bring it back, and then if it was supported, great, and if it wasn't, great as well. Now, what occurred here was the vote was pulled, or the bill was pulled out of committee, and it really was done with no notice to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure why it was pulled out, because it made no sense to me.
Is this something that Joe Marino did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he pulls it out, and then all of a sudden there's a vote. I think it was, what was it, 5-4 or something
5-4,
like that?
yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, if you listen to the political scuttlebutt from all the political insiders, they will list each of the people that voted for it and give you a reason that people believe they voted for
this
it.
person voted for this. I mean, we heard stories even that the one council member was crying at the end.
Right. You have, and so, in certain circumstances, again, in politics, I guess perception sometimes carries the day, right? So there's a perception
that's not considered by this administration at all.
Correct, but there was a perception that a number of the Common Council members, may have had some connection or some benefit, whether it was familial or personal, to vote in favor of it. So basically what they did was they robbed the citizens of Utica of the opportunity to address the issue and fair and square have a vote on that issue by the people that matter, and that is the constituents of the city of Utica.
So
let me just stop there for a second.
Thank you.
So now we have all of this back channeling that's occurring.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously there's a perception that the people that carried the petitions, had connection to, the administration. The people that voted for it all are going to benefit from it if they are able to stay in office for, an additional 4 years. I mean, you were talking about what happened to, Jack LoMedico, and
it does make you wonder if all the council members are saying.
I look at it as a parent.
Yeah,
it's sad that he even had to be put into a position. If it's true,
right.
He even had to be put into a position where he had to worry about whether or not his kid was going to remain employed if another administration came in. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, I do understand as a parent where he would be coming from. And I don't think there's a person around that would say, I'm going to do something to intentionally harm my child.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, that's an emotional analysis, obviously. So I can't blame him from an emotional standpoint. I guess the question would be, should he have recused himself at that point? Should anyone
or could he have blown the whistle? We talked about that earlier.
Right. So, it's a sad state of affairs. And I don't like the way it happened. It was great politics, from getting it done.
Off something everybody said couldn't be done.
I have to tip my hat to all those who, decided that they were going to take it away from the voters after pretending that they were going to give it to the voters. So, I'm kind of torn from, looking at it from a philosophical standpoint versus.
Let me throw out another possible scenario. In fairness to the mayor, it's possible that Jack LoMedico, let's say that all of this is true, but let me finish. That it was just assumed that if another mayor came in, that he would get rid of this janitor and put in another janitor of a friend of.
I don't really see that. I don't really see that kind of thing happening in light of the circumstances, the background of it.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest with you. I've known the mayor for a long time, and I just don't see this mayor coming to somebody and making a threat about someone's kid. Now, there could have been a concern. Someone could have placed that in his head, Jack's head, whatever it was. But, look, this guy is a family man. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Okay? So I have to say.
This guy, you're talking about the mayor.
I'm talking about the mayor.
Yeah.
He's not somebody that would threaten someone's kid. It's just not in his nature.
So how did we get to the statement that was made to John Byrne, who we can basically believe?
Because I don't
think John Byrne's a liar. I think this happened.
I'm not saying that he didn't say it, and I'm not saying that John Byrne is a liar. I am saying that there are other ways to skin the cat that had nothing to do. Like somebody may have, I guess, and, when they were discussing it, trying to get the 5 votes. And I think that they may have implied something to him.
So you're chalking this up to potential paranoia.
I'm chalking it up to somebody else making the statement and then planting it in his head.
Yeah.
And then him acting based on that statement.
You think the mayor could have had knowledge of that planting, that plant?
I'm sorry. It's, look, yeah. There are some things I philosophically disagree with him on, but I just don't see him as a guy that is going to threaten someone's kid. So I just don't see it.
So this falls on Jack then. If this is true, that or someone that came to Jack and said, this is what the mayor is going to do.
Again, it's a political thing.
Yeah.
So, you don't know who the political people were that may have planted this.
Let me ask you this, too, because I was told yesterday that a lot of times, most times, almost all in these municipalities, these jobs are civil service jobs. Is that true? And could there be someone that's working and it's just a hire from the
I
mayor?
don't know whether or not a nighttime cleaner is a civil service job.
Okay.
Okay. I know that in the time that I spent at City Hall, and I was there for probably 10 years in prior administrations, we had different people working in those jobs.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest with you, I don't think they really had any political connection, any of those people that were working there. It's not a highly sought-after position.
Right.
So,
you normally think of change of administration, department heads, stuff like that. You don't necessarily think
change out the janitor.
It's very unusual that they're going to change out the cleaners and the janitors. Usually the cleaners end up maybe switching for one reason or another.
So if Jack, though, felt that his kid's job was in jeopardy based on this, because that's what he expressed to John Byrne.
Yeah, but he expressed that he felt the job was in jeopardy. But, you know, again, I think it's an awfully harsh analysis of somebody else's personality that they would directly threaten someone's kid. So I don't think it was a direct threat in any way.
All right.
I think somebody else said, oh, my God, what happens if the Republicans get in the next administration or somebody else ends up being the mayor? You know, your kid's going to be out of a job. Have you thought about that? You know, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And I'm sure.
And not coming out of the mouth of the mayor.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
But either way, you know, when you're making a vote like the one that was made, that took it out of the hands of the voters.
Yeah.
And you felt that there was going to be a personal impact one way or the other, notwithstanding the fact that you're basically giving yourself another opportunity to get 4 more years on top of the ones that you have.
Yep.
I think at that point it's incumbent upon you to abstain or say I want it to go to the voters, which is what it was supposed to, which is what was supposed to take place.